All in Sports Network. We love sports.
All right. Do not adjust your screens. This guy may look a little like Liam, but it's not Liam. It's Liam's uncle, my brother-in-law. Welcome to the show, Brady.
What's up, Kevin? How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Good to have you. I so sorry we didn't have you on yesterday when Liam was out and sick. He's still under the weather, but I should have had you on yesterday because you went to the Colts game. What was that like?
Well, it'd been a while since I'd been. Probably the last time I went was with you and Alexis. I was much younger then too, but no, it was great. It was it's kind of like like obviously when Peyton and everybody else was there, it was electrifying, very fun to watch. I don't want to say they're the same type of team necessarily, but everybody was electrified and it was rowdy. So it was a very, very fun atmosphere.
This Colts team is doing things that Peyton Manning's teams never did as far as scoring points and things like that. So you say it's not the same, but it surely kind of looks like that at this point.
Yeah, in a lot of ways it does. I don't want to give them too much props yet because there's a lot of season left. But the ways that they're playing, the potential's there, and I just keep hoping they can stay up with the momentum.
Yep, definitely. As it looks right now, easy part of the season is over. Getting into the meat of the stuff now, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm Kevin. This is Brady sitting in for Liam. We are the Unstable Blues, happy to present All Indiana Sports as part of the All In Sports and Rogue Media Sports Networks. Welcome back in. The Hoosiers, the IU football team, put a stop to the UCLA resurgence. They expose the Bruins for who they really are while asserting themselves as a true power. So let's go all in. You can follow us on TikTok and Instagram at All Indiana Sports and on Twitter at All Indie Sports. And don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, before we get into the Hoosier game and IU football, which seeing its own amazing power, I got to know because NBA is kind of your thing, always has been. So where do you think the Pacers are right now? How do they stack up against the competition without Halliburton and without TJ McConnell for at least another 3 weeks or so?
Well, watching the finals last year with Tyrese getting hurt, it was devastating because, he's a superstar of the team and the leader. Both ends of the floor, very vocal guy. But the fact that he kept willing to play and wanted to play, I think shows a lot about his character. And I think that also shows character about the team as a whole. But as it's stated right now, season just started, last week before. So
Yep.
I don't know if they're rebuilding. I don't know if they want to develop. You hear both things. You see them. People are saying like, "Oh, maybe they can make the play-in. Maybe they should just, take the year and try to just develop and get ready for the following year when he's back." So we'll see.
All right. Well, I said that the ceiling is still an NBA championship because I believe Halliburton will work himself back for a playoff push.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, they have been already decimated by injuries within the first week. And I don't know if you saw this. They just picked up Mac McClung.
My guy, I've been watching and following him since high school. Always very fun to watch. I think he's a really good pick. I really don't know why teams have slept on him as much as they have because he's kind of fits the standard blue collar gold swagger. He's just going to play hard and play the right way. And, maybe with TJ out for another 2 or 3 weeks, he can fill in that gap and really show what he's made of.
Yep. And it is a chance, as you mentioned, to develop those players. It is a long season. They didn't start off well last season, and they ended up where they did. So do not judge a team by the first week or so of the season, especially when you have a coach like Rick Carlisle.
Exactly.
So, all right. We have said from several weeks ago that this is the golden era of Indiana sports right now, with the Colts doing what they're doing, the Pacers just having been in the finals, the Fever doing what they did, beating the eventual NBA or WNBA champions, taking them to overtime of a fifth game against 4 Olympians against essentially a fever's bench with all of their people out. And then there's IU football. That's what we're here to talk about today. So, did you watch the UCLA game at all?
I wasn't able to watch a whole lot of it. Obviously, caught up on some highlights. I was staying up with the score, and then when you're checking the score, it's like I want to watch, but it's a scrimmage for them almost. Their point differential between other teams is insane right now. So,
yep, absolutely. I think the defense came up strong, and I think everybody's sleeping on the defense. They started with that pick six on the second play of the game, so that doesn't hurt. Meanwhile, you can tune in tomorrow for our pick six NFL prediction episode tomorrow. Hopefully, Liam will be back for that. We take turns predicting 6 of the biggest games around the NFL. IU's offense was efficient, dominant. Their special teams covered and kicked well, and they call it complementary football. It comes from proper training. Speaking of which, Farmhounds Healthy Treats can help you train your puppies. That's what we love at Country Mountain Dogs. You can click the link in the description for more on that. What's your belief on Fernando Mendoza and the Heisman hopes?
I think he's up there. I mean, I don't think he's one to be, you shouldn't really sleep on him. And, like the team in general, I think a lot of people talk about their schedule, and I think that's kind of nonsense at this point. They're the real deal. He's one of the better passers. I think Signetti was saying statistically his completion rating with interceptions and everything is like off the charts, one of the better quarterbacks he's ever coached. So, I mean, he's up there for sure, and I think people should just continue to keep their eyes on him.
And what I noticed in the UCLA game was his time and time again, his willingness to put his body on the line, to get the extra yards, to get the team in position and put the team on his back. You don't see that from a lot of quarterbacks. They're about, especially, in the world of NIL, and they're looking to make the draft. They're going to protect themselves. Fernando Heisman Mendoza is pushing himself and the team to the limit. He went 15 of 22, 168. So kind of a pedestrian day for him, but he threw 3 touchdowns and he added 45 yards on the ground on 5 carries, including a 20-yard touchdown run. Alberto Mendoza, his younger brother, also scored a rushing touchdown in the fourth quarter. And I think that's the second time that's happened. And so that's got to be some kind of record where 2 brothers both score a touchdown in the same game. It's crazy.
It's insane. I mean, hopefully if his older brother goes pro this next year, the younger one's right there to fill in. So it's exciting in IU, and I'm saying being here in Indiana, everybody's excited for all sports here. So it's great.
Yeah. And we will say again, this right here is the only place that covers in depth every single one of the things that we've talked about. You can go over here and get Colt stuff. You can go over here and get Hoosier stuff. This is the only place where you can get all of it, all Indiana sports. So make sure you tell all your friends about what we got going on. IU had a total of 262 yards on the ground, with Roman Hemby going for 81 on 17 carries. Kaylon Black at 10 carries for 70 yards. EJ Williams had a big day, 109 yards on 5 catches, 2 touchdowns, including a 62-yarder to kind of put it away toward the end. Elijah Surratt drew a couple pass interference penalties, but he did extend his consecutive games with a catch streak to 46. 46 straight college football games he has caught a pass. This is in a world where you don't hardly see anyone play 46 games, let alone catch a pass in every single one of them. How crazy is that?
Consistency, man. It's insane. He just, like you said, playing that many games in a row, that's honestly unheard of, and even in professional sports. So props to him.
Yes, absolutely. They call him Waffle House because he's always open, and you can see the evidence. Aiden Fisher left the game shortly after his pick 6, but Isaiah Jones, he's got a good name, doesn't he? Filled in by leading the team with 8 tackles, including a half a sack. Hardy and Tucker lived in the backfield, combining for 2.5 sacks and 3.5 TFLs from the middle defensive tackle position. The defense held UCLA's potent run game that's kind of launched them on their 3-game winning streak to only 88 yards, 201 total yards, and only 1 for 11 converting third downs. That's crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Just like you said, the defense has been everything for them. So if they can keep it up, sky's the limit.
All right. It is time. See if you can go with me on this for what Liam and I call our
Hoosiers.
Player of the game. You got it. You went with me. I love it. I didn't even warn Liam the first time and went right with me. So it's ingrained in the blood. I love it.
Very much so.
Do you have a player of the game as you kind of looked at the overall things?
I probably just Mendoza again. He's just, kind of like you were saying about Surratt. He's consistent with everything, but he's also, I think, surprising people. Him coming to Indiana, I think, was really big. Filling in for Rourke. So I think, the progression with him and his younger brother, I think sky's the limit for both of them. I think it's years to come. So, and Cignetti's just an engineer on the sidelines and knows what he's doing from every aspect. So never lets his foot off the throttle.
Not at all. Score might be 73-0, and he's still over there going, "This is not good."
Nope.
They're gonna. It's either not good because it's too close, or it's not good because the guys are going to get an ego and think that they got something going on, and I got to bump them back down.
Exactly.
My player of the game is Isaiah Jones. I think I've given it to him one other time, but he's been right up there, sneaking up there, even with Aiden Fisher in the lineup. So as soon as he went out, I was like, yes, Isaiah Jones gets his shot, and he took full advantage of it, and it was awesome. All right, little break from IU. Okay, I need how many wins do you think right now? 7-1 for the Colts. How many wins total do you think they get for the season?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least 15. Honestly, 14 or 15. I really think it's possible. I was talking to a friend the other day that I think the floor is first or second round out, and the ceiling is going to the Super Bowl and hopefully winning the whole thing. I think people should really consider who they are and how they're playing right now.
I love it. The outside world will say, well, yeah, but who have they beaten? And then the Colts would say, well, look how they've beaten them. They've blown them out. And then they will say, well, they lost to the Rams. And people will say, well, A.D. Mitchell dropped a touchdown, and then he had a holding penalty that brought back a Jonathan Taylor touchdown. And then on the game-winning touchdown by the Rams, they only had 10 men on the field, and the slot corner fell down. So, I mean, it's that close to 8-0, and they've already beaten the Chargers, and that 8-0 would have included the Rams as well. So, like I said, doesn't get any easier from this point, but, there are two sides to that coin as well. All right, I also need a point total or a total games you think out of 82 the Pacers are going to win.
I still think
you can give me a range. You can give me a range.
I still think at least they're a 500 team. They have enough people there. One player I'd like to point out is Benedict Mathurin. He's going to step up. Honestly, when they got him, I thought he should have been starting, but I'm not Rick Carlisle, so he's really good. I think he's going to be stepping up for them. And once TJ's back, and the signing of McClung, I think there's some guys that bring a lot of energy. So at least 500. 45, maybe 50 if they're, on points on everything. But I'd say about 500 for sure.
I like it. I think the main thing against Mathurin is the fact that he is more of a traditional NBA player, and Rick Carlisle's system is, at least currently, is not that. Is much more team oriented, and Mathurin's more of a one-on-one kind of guy. Exactly. Sometimes you need that. Especially if you're down players, you need that player to be able to create off the dribble and things like that. So he has an advantage at this time without TJ and without Tyrese. So we'll see how the season goes. I like that call. All right. Back to IU. They play Maryland this week. Maryland looked good early, beating Wisconsin on the road. but they've lost to Washington, Nebraska, UCLA, and Oregon since. And then we found out that Wisconsin really ain't that good at all. So the thought is that IU should be able to put them to sleep pretty easily. Speaking of which, Joi Baby Sleep Sacks can help you put your little one to sleep. Click the link in the description for more on that. What do you think of the Maryland game coming up for IU?
Just remind me, is it home or is it away? I can't remember off the top of my head.
It is in Maryland. Yes.
In Maryland.
Yes.
I mean, well, you see what we did in Oregon, and nobody thought that was going to happen. Obviously it's a different team, but like I said earlier, with them playing the way they are and Cignetti's not letting them take their foot off the throttle, like there's a very good chance that they can win it. And if they do, just keep rising up through the ranks, keep that number 2 or 1 spot right now.
Right. It does seem that all roads lead to Indianapolis for a 1-2 matchup between Ohio State and IU for the Big Ten championship. What I need your feelings on the fact that championship game, that conference championship, will determine the number 1 overall seed versus somebody who doesn't even break the top 4 and then gets reduced to hosting a opening round playoff game in the new playoff system. What do you think of that?
Well, to be honest with you, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I think Ohio State's probably the only team in the country that can really give them a run for their money, and they just so happen to be in the same conference. So, we'll just have to see how it plays out, and hopefully, it's a good game. I have no doubt that it's not going to be, but hopefully, you can get the dub on that one as well.
I totally agree. I know Nick Saban has been torn because we love the conference championships at the way they were, but now with the new college playoff system, it almost is detrimental to the team that now loses that conference championship because they did all that work to get there, and now that may be the one game keeping them out of the college football playoff when their record and their resume should show different. And so I see both sides of it. I think the only answer to that would be expanded to 16 games or 16 teams, because the other problem that we saw last year, and I don't know if it will continue, is that the top 4 seeds got a bye, but also didn't play a home game, and all of them lost.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said in football, especially about a regular rhythm and a regular rotation. And so you get to keep playing, you build up momentum, having a week off, you can come out flat, and even more so if you're not having the advantage of a home stadium. So, all right. My take on Maryland here and IU is Maryland runs a similar RPO style to IU, so they've got that to practice against, but they have a weaker offensive line because IU's is the best in the country. As a result, they will want to get the ball out quick, and their RPOs are more predetermined. It's not as much of the quarterback actually reading the defense. It's much more predetermined that they're going to hand it off or they're going to keep it, which can be an advantage with how much IU disguises their coverage and pre-snap. My keys, always protect the ball, take the ball. You win the turnover battle, you're almost guaranteed to win, especially in college football. I got to shout out Liam. He's going to say, run the ball, keep running the ball, because the run game is dictating of the pace and everything like that. And every time that IU has won the run game, they've won the game. You're going to want to play disciplined gap scheme defense with pressures and be unrelenting on offense. The IU model of play fast, physical, and relentless is the key to this victory. All right. The last thing that we do here, I don't know if you want to pull this up on your screen here. Actually, I'll go through them. All right. We go through a Big Ten update, pick our biggest loser, biggest winner of the week. Okay. Maryland, 7-24 in Oregon. Oregon won that one. And then Washington at home, 42-25 over Illinois. Michigan at Michigan State. Michigan won 31-20. And then Nebraska won by a touchdown, 28-21 over Northwestern at home. Purdue lost by a field goal at home, 27-24 to Rutgers, and Minnesota only scored 3, and Iowa scored 41 at home. So with that in mind, who do you think needs to rebound the most? Speaking of which, Open Goal Rebounder and Goal Setup has a great thing for you in your backyard. Click the link in the description for more. Who do you think is the biggest loser out of the Big Ten this week then?
I'm going to say Purdue just because their basketball team also lost to Kentucky. Obviously being a Hoosier, you got to go against Purdue. But watching not as much as I should have this week on everything else, I will say to that, just because the score is close, it always sucks to lose something a close battle like that. So I'll probably go with them this week.
I totally get it. Totally see what you're coming from. I mean, I'm going to say that the biggest loser is probably Maryland, which scares me a little bit because I never like to have to play a team that really needs it and just came off of a loss. So I'd rather play somebody off a win. But, I don't know if IU has a ton to fear from Maryland, to be honest. All right. Then from those scores, who do you think was the biggest winner of the Big Ten this week?
What was the score difference between the Oregon game?
24-7 over Maryland in Autzen at Oregon.
Well, I mean, I guess
Washington won big at home. Iowa won really big at home.
Oh, then probably. Actually, I do remember seeing a little bit on the Iowa. Probably them. Then I knew that IU played them earlier in this season, and it was a little different of a game then. But for them getting that, I'd go with them.
I totally agree. I think Iowa is the biggest winner. I think Iowa is one of those sneaky teams that could end up as the 4th team potentially from the Big Ten in the college football playoffs. You're really thinking about 3 teams, at the top with Oregon, IU, and Ohio State. But then you're looking at Michigan, Illinois, and Iowa as the 3 teams that could be that 4th team. Regardless, can we stop the SEC nonsense and say that actually the Big Ten is the best sports conference in the United States of America because they're better at basketball and they're better at football now, and we need to drop the whole SEC does football and ACC does basketball or Big 12 does basketball. Nobody does sports like the Big Ten.
I wouldn't disagree at all with that. I've been saying that for a few years now, and you can probably talk to a lot of people that are SEC or ACC fans of those teams, and they'll just argue all day with you. But there's more consistency with the basketball and football programs in the Big Ten, so it's kind of hard to argue with that in general. So.
Is how it goes. Brady, thank you very much for stepping in Liam's absence. It's been a pleasure. Anything else you want to add before we take off?
Just go Indiana sports. Hope we can keep it up this year and continue to do it for a time, however long it tells. So hope that goes well for the next few years.
I love it. All right, well, that's it for today. We'll be back hopefully with Liam tomorrow. As we get into our unstable pick 6, look at the week's NFL slate, and then we will have our Keep the Pace episode where we will take a look at the Pacers' first week of the season, and then we will finish off the week with our preview of the Colts going to Steel Town and taking on Old Man Rodgers. Well, I'm Kevin. That's Brady. We're reminding you to
All in Sports Network. We love sports.